So I totally forgotten that on my little recorder thing here, 15 minutes is the max. So I got a few more minutes here and I'll be done. I promise. So we're talking about the good things that the New Deal did. Lastly, here, democracy had been saved, as we'll see in other European countries around the world. People got real desperate, and usually when countries get desperate, they elect people that they think are going to do the job, and sometimes those people are really extreme. In the case of Germany, Italy, that basically say, "Yeah, we'll take a dictator." They promise to change things around. Some of you know how that goes down. Lastly, the bad. The power and the size of the federal government grew, and you say, "Well, who cares?" Well, big enough to where people said, "You know what? Government's too big. We don't need government all over the place, helping us for every single thing. We're smart, bright people. We can do it on our own." Many felt, and this is a vocab word, that we should go back to laissez-faire, or the idea that government should be small and just help us when we really, really need it. Um, you could argue, though, that the Great Depression was an instance where, you know what, a lot of government probably was needed because Hoover didn't really have a lot of government involvement and things really didn't get better. But, anyways, that's a debate for a different way. Another thing, the New Deal programs weren't cheap. The government spent money it didn't have. And when you spend money you don't have, that's called deficit spending. And when you keep spending money you don't have, you go into debt. And that's, for example, like me, let's say somebody was making $50,000 a year. Um, and every single year they were spending $60,000. Well, over the course of 10 years, you would be spending $100,000 more than you had. That's debt. Um, our country does that, but we do it on a mass scale. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here is the current debt of the United States. If you're like, I don't even know all those numbers, Mr. Pope, but I know that's a lot. That's $19 trillion. That's a lot of money. Lots of money. If I can find it here. Okay, if every single person, every single person, babies all the way up to old people, had to, we wanted to get the debt down to zero, every single person in the country would have to pay over $200,000 per person, which is obviously never going to happen. It's absolutely insane. That is how big in a hole we are. Kids always ask me, Mr. Pope, one day, like, what's this all mean? Well, right now, it's okay, but if this continues, this 19 million, there will be repercussions. Economics 101 tells us that. And this right here shows you where the debts come from. As you can see, our last two presidents, Bush and Obama, uh, before Bush, our debt was right below six trillion. You just saw the figure. Currently through Obama, we're up to 19 trillion. So those two presidents alone put $13 trillion on our debt, basically spending money we don't have. Not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. So deficit spending added to the national debt. At that time, the debt, if I can go back here, the debt, as you can see, was so small. But it still did spend money they didn't have. Last but not least, and this is important to understand, a lot of people don't realize this, the New Deal did not end the Great Depression. It simply slowed it. And a lot of people say, well, World War II ended it. Incorrect as well. Uh, we'll talk about that later, but the New Deal, what I want you to know, the New Deal did not end the Great Depression. It simply slowed it. All right, perfect. So what I want you to do now is you should have a study guide. I want you to do, first of all, make sure you share um, the uh, the worksheet you were filling out as we were going through this today. Share that with me. If you did a paper copy, turn it in Mrs. Sallyvold. Um, Next, you should have a study guide. It's salmon. I want you to do number 1 through 8 tomorrow. Mr. Staub is going to go through 1 through 8. We've done 1 through 8. We've actually done more than 1 through 8. I just want you to do 1 through 8 for tomorrow. Use any of those worksheets we've done so far. It should be a piece of cake. You get that done, I want you to work on your storybook. Um, if you get that done, I want you to study for your vocab quiz, the last 9 words, um, which will be on Wednesday. You get all that done, you need to find something to do. All right?